Hello, Aaron Kubitz, personal trainer at Functional Aesthetics EC. We're helping average guys perform better in their lives inside and outside the gym. So in today's video, I wanted to talk a little bit about the importance of application. So years ago I read a book called Live Life Aggressively by a guy named Mike Mahler, or I think I actually pronounced his name Mahler or something like that. But anyway, he was a kettlebell trainer, and he kind of told some stories about his life. And kind of the premise of the book was not, violence against other people or anything like that, but essentially to go after what you want and to not kind of be lukewarm about things, but to give things your full effort to, push past your fears and your doubts and, essentially live life aggressively, right? One thing that stuck with me from the book, though, was as I tend to be somebody who likes to do a lot of planning, a lot of research ahead of time to make sure that I'm on the right path with what I'm doing. And he talked about in the book how you have typically two extremes of people, right? You're going to have the research addicts, kind of like I was, and then you also have the action addicts, And I've had friends of mine that were definitely fell into this category where they get an idea in their head and they go start implementing it immediately with very little thought or research into the right way to do it before they started. And sometimes this will work, but more often than not, what happens is that you end up exhausting yourself in the process of making a lot of mistakes, and sometimes you end up coming to the right answer, but oftentimes you run out of energy before you ultimately end up coming to the right conclusion. Now, some people are blessed to have extremely high levels of energy and fortitude, so they can make a lot of stupid mistakes and end up sticking around long enough to come out on the other side successful. Well, anyway, what Mike Mahler said is that ideally you want to be a mix between the two, right? You don't want to just go off half-cocked, but then at the same time, you don't want to be one of these people that just sits there and learns and learns and learns a lot of information, but never actually goes and tries to do anything with that information. And one of the reasons I was making this video is that oftentimes in the fitness area and in a lot of different areas of life, it is very common for people, when I talk to people about something, it'll be, yes, I know that, I've heard that before, right? And that's not surprising at all because we live in the information age. After, the advent of computers and stuff and the internet, information has been commoditized. It's readily available. It's not hard to come by. If you have a little bit of any sort of discipline or motivation, you can go and educate yourself on just about any sort of topic. Now, certain ones that are more trending or up and coming, you might have to pay somebody for their knowledge on how to do it. But most information is out there if you're willing to dig and to search for that information. You can find it. So it's not surprising that is the case. Even, for example, when I first started, my journey coming back from my digestive issues and my health issues, and was getting into natural bodybuilding and learning how to build myself up, I had to go to the library and find books, or even scan random blogs and stuff like that on the internet. And this was, prior to the days of YouTube. Now there is so many guys and gals out there on YouTube, Instagram, and what have you, saying all the stuff that I had to go to the library and dig through and all that stuff, and you can just pop in your earbuds or watch, type in a couple of clicks on the keyboard and you have it right up there in front of your face. And so it's very easy to come by this information. But this brings me to my next point, that there's a difference between having an awareness of some information and actually taking that information and producing a result with it. And I think it was Tony Robbins that talked about, it was 4 different stages maybe of mastery on a particular topic. The first stage is where you have that awareness, you've been exposed to a particular concept, idea, or topic, and the next stage is where you start to more kind of understand the importance of that topic, and so decide to delve into it a little bit deeper. Because many things that we'll hear about they're not of no interest to us, or we don't see how they're going to benefit our lives. So we hear them and they go in one ear and out the other. And, if somebody talks about them later on, we'll be like, oh yeah, I've heard about that, right? Well, after that stage, maybe there's something in your life that made you think, okay, I actually want to gain a deeper understanding of this particular topic. And so you start delving into it a little bit deeper, right? And this is where you kind of, at the stage where you start to grasp what it's all about. And then the next stage is where you actually go and implement that information, and you wrestle with it, and you try to actually produce a result. And in the process of that, you develop mastery or a working knowledge, meaning that you can actually do something productive with that information that you have. So back when I first began studying bodybuilding and nutrition, as I stated earlier on in the video, I, initially just would follow verbatim whatever the diet was. It's like, okay, if I want to get up to 180 pounds or whatever, and I need to eat this amount of calories, this amount of protein, this amount of carbs, I need to do this kind of workout. And granted, I did have some other issues going on with my digestive system, which probably affected the way that I assimilated and absorbed the nutrients that I was taking in. But I also found that it was not as straightforward as that. And I had to make some adjustments. I had to experiment. I had to watch things that my roommates who were also into lifting weights did. How did they eat their food? What kind of food did they eat? And then also getting information from even somebody such as like a chiropractor, as well as, comparing different things that I had read in, holistic nutrition, and comparing things about how I knew how like nutrition worked in the body, to kind of copy and paste and figure out over time what would actually work for me. And this is why I say there's a difference between having an understanding or knowing about something and knowing what to do, as having actually taken that information, applied it, and produced a result. Another example of this would be a very popular guy in the fitness community, probably one of the biggest guys in relation to coaching or helping fitness business owners grow their gyms, is Alex Hormozi. And he was talking about in one of his videos that he had already run or been the head of a sales team before he read his first book on sales. And this kind of really echoed or resonated with me, because a lot of things that I would hear from guys on YouTube talking about, or different experts, or you'd read in a book, a lot of it didn't really make a whole lot of sense, and it was kind of foreign. You didn't really know how to wrap your head around it because you hadn't actually experienced it. And then years later, after you'd actually been in the game doing the stuff, and then you're like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. Now I know why he said that, because you'd actually had the same experience, and now those pieces started to actually make sense. So sometimes having a combination of the application and the research, do enough research that you kind of point you in the right direction, but then go out there and try it. And then when you get stuck, come back and read some more and try to figure it out, and then go apply that, and then go back and forth until you actually start, producing those results. And if you stick with it long enough, ultimately you're going to come to the point where you are starting to create your own ideas, your own philosophies, and maybe even come up with brand new ideas that have not been explored yet. So in closing, if you truly want to understand something, you must go beyond the theoretical to the application. Or as Mike Mailer said, you want to become a hybrid between the two. Move away from the action addict or the research addict. Marry the two together to create that sweet spot where you're going to create the most growth. One other example before I close here was last year, maybe a year and a half ago, I finally caught up with the times and got myself a set of earbuds. And I was actually in a job where I could wear earbuds on the job because I was, working back in a warehouse, right? And so I was able to listen to so many audiobooks and YouTube videos and podcasts and all this stuff. And initially, it was amazing. I was learning so much information, and I was thinking, man, I'm getting so smart, and this is going to really move my life forward. But after a while, I realized that my life wasn't changing substantially because of this information. And in fact, the snail pace of learning stuff in the past had actually taken moved my life farther, because I would take that limited knowledge that I had and master it and exhaust it, you know, and then you'd pick up another piece of information, then you do that, and you move forward. Whereas when you're getting, you know, so many books, and you're going through like a book a month or something like that, but then you're saturated and your mind is not actually like latching onto all the information. It's just kind of like bouncing around in your head, and it's almost like constipating your brain, right? And so I guess what I would say is the best way to actually get a result in your life would be to go and learn the information, apply the information, assess the results. Based upon the results, if you need to go and get more learning, go get more learning, and repeat that process. All right, guys, thanks for taking the time to watch the video. Hopefully this provided a little bit of maybe a different angle of looking at things than you have in the past. Remember, nobody cares how hard you train or how hard you work. What matters is the results that you produce. And if you're taking in a lot of information, but you're not actually going and trying that information out and trying to apply it to your life, it's likely to leave you a very smart, very well educated, yet ineffective individual. So guys, if you'd like to see more content like this related to lifting routines, how to, life philosophy, fitness philosophy, nutrition for both building muscle, losing fat, and general athletic performance and health in general, as well as how to prevent injuries and train around them if you do get them, consider subscribing to the channel by hitting the button in the lower right-hand corner of the screen. We'll see you all next time for more health and fitness-related information. Thanks, guys, for watching.